Is anybody blown away, as I am, that we still don't agree as a country whether the vaccinations were unambiguously a good idea or unambiguously a bad idea? Now, I don't want to hear anything about myocarditis in young men. Stipulated. I'll even stipulate it. Can I beg you? Can I beg you not to mention it because we all already know it? I'm just begging you. Just don't say it. We all know it. Okay? There is no conversation about young men. That part we can agree on, right? Are you right? But the rest of the people, all right, I will stipulate that the data is sketchy for young men. Okay? Stipulated. Okay, I stipulate that, so you don't have to say it. But let's just say for older people. And I would be curious just to see where you're at right now. Now, my current opinion is, how would I know? That's my current opinion. How would I know? So I think there are 3 opinions, and 2 of them are unsupported. Right? If we can agree on the stipulated part, that young men seem to have a greater risk with the vaccination. Everybody seems to know that now. But for not that group, for the people older than that, just older, forget about kids, that's a whole different conversation. But for the older population, how many of you think that the vaccinations were more good than bad or more bad than good? Go. Just for the older people. Older only. Older only. Oh, wow, I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. Yeah, there's a big difference between the locals and the YouTube people. YouTube says more bad than good, and locals is more good than bad. But anyway, either way, it proves my point. How in the world could we be here and not know that? I mean, how could it be? Is there anything more important than that? Like, literally, how could we be at this point and still disagree about whether the vaccinations worked or didn't for older people? Only older people. Only older people. I have to say that every time. How is that even possible? Now, so the three opinions are, it was the so-called vaccine. Oh, here's the other thing. Can I do another stipulation? One more stipulation. I never, ever, ever want to hear you tell me that you shouldn't call them vaccinations because they don't stop the spread. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. I will stipulate it. If you'll please stop saying it. I know. Stipulated. Good stuff. So I was listening to a little clip by comedian Dana Gould, who's very funny, one of my favorites. But his routine was, it's interesting, because in his bubble, he said, basically, that how could anybody be against what he called vaccinations, which I stipulate that when he used the word vaccination, I stipulate that they don't actually stop the spread of transmission. It's just something he said. And he said, how in the world are we, let's say, going against the experts? I'm paraphrasing. Basically, he said, everything that we do in life, we're trusting experts, so why is this different? He says, I use my zipper. I don't know how that works, but I use it anyway. So his view was, everything that you do is because some expert told you it was okay. It's no different. So why wouldn't you do the vaccinations? Totally a good point, right? And then he mocked his brother for not getting vaccinated because his brother said he doesn't know what goes into those vaccinations. Like, he doesn't know how that works. And then Dana said, again, paraphrasing, that you don't know how anything works. Like, it's a crazy point. Just because his brother doesn't know how that works His brother doesn't know how anything works that's, technical. So how do you make any decisions? And I tweeted that, and I made the following observation. Who is more likely to screw you? Somebody who knows more than you about the topic, or someone who knows a lot less than you about the topic? Over the course of your life, have you been more screwed by people who knew more than you? Let's say crypto. Crypto would be a good current kind of a thing. Why do you think that Sam Bankman-Fried could build his company FTX and get away with it? Because he knew more than you know. He's the expert, right? 100% of the people who fuck you are the ones who know more than you. That's how they do it. Do you know when people do like financial scams on you, or they do insider trading? Is the insider trading happening because they know less than you? No, it's because they know more than you. That's how it works. It's the knowing more than you that's the whole trick. Everything depends on them knowing more than you. They can't fool you if you know more than them. Okay? I don't know how more clear that could be. The people who know less than me almost never fool me. Do you know why? Because they know less than I know. That's why. It's only the people who know more than you in politics, in economics, every form of finance, crypto, everything. It's only the people who know more than you that are screwing you. Doc Anarchy has another great thread that actually you need to be subscribing to his Substack to see it all. But he's going after the AMA and the medical studies. And once you see how often the people who know more than you have intentionally lied to get a drug passed, you would have to have no context in your life whatsoever to think that vaccinations are safe because the people who know more than you told you they were. The worst reason. Now, there might be. I'm very explicitly not giving you my opinion on whether the so-called vaccinations that don't vaccinate, whether they're more good than bad. How would I know? I mean, seriously, how would I know? And somebody's going to say, oh, do your own research, Scott. It's all out there. No, it isn't. Nothing I believe is out there, because everything out there would be put together by who? What would be a general description of all the people who put together those studies you think I should look into? Like a general description of them. Are they people who know more than I do? Right. So I can't check their work. I can't check their work because they know more than I do. Now I can check some of them. I mean, some of them just are like screamingly obviously bullshit. But I can't check all of them because they know more than I do. Dana Gould. All right. I'm thinking of creating a sort of a version of me that's like the dark version. I can't, it's like everything like me, but it's like opposite me. Like wherever I have a socially appropriate opinion, Dark Scott would be the one that's the opposite. Because over on Reddit, there's a version of me that's Dark Scott. And I can tell when they come over to Twitter, because they all have the same misinformation. So over on Reddit, they believe I was pro-mask. I actually led a anti-mask campaign. They think I'm pro-vaccination. I delayed as long as I could until I wanted a vacation, got the minimum I needed for the vacation, and never looked back. Right? So that's pro-vaccination. Do I think the vaccinations helped me? I don't know. I just know I had a good vacation. That's all I know. I don't know anything else. I had to make a choice. Cost benefit, no information. I just made the one where I could have a good vacation. So there, and then what was the other one? Also on Reddit, they believe that I'm in favor of digital passports. So Dark Scott is in favor of digital passports, masks, and vaccinations, and I promoted all of those things All opposite. All opposite. None of that's true. Now, on Twitter, mostly people know that. But when there's a bunch of trolls coming over, I think it's because I'm not positive. But when I started hitting TikTok hard, I started getting a lot of trolls on unrelated topics. And one of the consistent ones, I think they're from Reddit, but they could be just Chinese trolls. One of the consistent ones is a tweet in which I was questioning people on digital passports for vaccinations, which are not vaccinations, really. I'm going to stipulate that they're not actual vaccinations. Don't want to start any rumors. So, I wonder if that's China. Is it a coincidence I'm talking about canceling TikTok and then suddenly trolls with all the same message are hitting me? Now here's my take on digital passports, and here's why it confused people. I talk about both sides of every issue. If you talk about both sides of every issue, somebody can just delete the conversation and take one side of it and say that's who you are. So that's what happens on Reddit. But I think that's maybe just Chinese trolls. I don't know. But here's my take on digital passports. Whether it's for vaccinations, which I stipulate are not actually vaccinations. It's a misleading word. Stipulated. Here's why people think I'm in favor of digital passports. Because I've said, do you know they can do all of that to you? They can track everywhere you are right now, and they can turn off all your finances anytime they want. What do you think happened to SBF? The FTX CEO? Do you think they knew where he was? Yes, they did. Do you think they could turn off his banking? Yes. The government just has to care about you, that's all. They simply have to care about you, and they can do anything they want. You know they can send people to your house with guns, right? They can drag you out of your house, put you in a little cell. They can do anything they want. Now, would it be inappropriate, illegal? Yeah, but they have all those tools. So if you give them, and here's what people said. They said, okay, Scott, I get that they can, for all practical purposes, they can track you everywhere. For all practical purposes. Yeah, January 6 people already. And they can also turn off your banking for all practical purposes. But you don't want to make the mistake of making it easy, right? So that's the pushback. No, if you make it easier, they're going to use it more, right? Anybody agree with that? If you make it a digital passport and they can just push the one button and you just disappear from the grid, that's worse, right? Now, you know what's wrong with that, right? Let me tell you what's wrong with that. The person who is capable of making that decision about you, they don't push the button. They don't have like a dashboard at their big old desk, and they're sitting there like, I don't like that tweet that Adams just sent. Adams. There's the Adams button. Boom, you're gone. You think the person who makes the decision pushes the button? No. They say to an underling, make this person go away. And then the underling does extra work. But does the boss care? No. The boss doesn't care. Do you think the, district attorney or whoever is going to be tracking and turning off somebody's resources, do you think the district attorney does it himself? No. There's some underling, puts the paperwork together to do whatever needs to be done. So I don't think it makes any difference. I don't. I think they can turn off anything. They can track you anywhere. It's a very small difference. Now, did that sound like I'm in favor of digital passports? Did it? I think it's fair to say that if you had digital passports for anything, it would provide you some conveniences. It would take away a little bit of freedom, because you're right, it'd make it like a little bit easier. But the difference is so trivial. It's probably a trivial difference. Now, did I say I'm in favor of it? Did you hear me say I'm in favor of digital passports? No. I just said what is the potential risk and the potential upside. I just described it. I simply described it. That's it. So I can't call myself Dark Adams because there's a movie out called Black Adam. Very confusing. You know, The Rock has a movie out. So I can't be Black Adams. That would be confusing. So I guess I'll have to hold off on that.